This is The Goode Show. I'm Surinder, a proud military spouse of 26 years. My guy retired as a Command Master Chief after serving 30 years as a Navy SEAL. I'm also a mom, an entrepreneur, and an advocate for the military community. Here at The Goode Show, we delve into the inspiring lives of military spouses. From navigating deployments to building thriving businesses, we're here to empower, educate, and connect. So grab a coffee, get comfy, and let's get into it, because The Goode Show is where your story matters.
Welcome to this week's episode. My name's Surinder. I am your host, and this is The Goode Show. You know, I'm up here with Kimmy over at Liberty Station in a very special place with a really special guy, Joe Pisano. How are you, Joe?
Very good, thank you.
You look well. I think this is the first time I've seen you in uniform.
This may be, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Usually I'm in a working environment, and
Yeah.
you see me all frazzled up. I even fixed my hair for you.
Ah, your hair looks great, dude.
Thank you.
I even sprayed mine before I left the house. Look at that. Hey, this stool is kind of crazy. I just want everybody to know it's a stool and not me. Joe, okay, thank you for letting us up here today and look at this fabulous artwork. But I discovered something new about you this morning that I didn't know when we were talking about your military career.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You said you used a term. What was it?
Non-prior reservist.
Non-prior reservist. Okay, I've never heard that term
Yes,
before. Will you explain again what that is?
So non-prior reservist means that an individual that enlists in the military has no prior active duty service.
Okay.
Goes in literally just like you would if you were active duty, but again, you're deemed as never been served.
Okay.
A lot of our active duty component will complete maybe a 6-year enlistment, 4 active and then 2 reserve. And then it turns out that, I want to stay, and so they end up making a career out of it.
Oh, wow. Okay, and so how long have you been in the reserves? Would that be the right thing to say there?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so how long have you been in the reserves, Joe?
I was in for 24 years.
Wow.
And I just retired out, so it's been a year now. Wow. So it's been a really nice transition, for me at least, because I've already started doing what I'm doing now. Yeah. Which is the artwork.
Yeah, I mean, talking of the artwork, Joe, I've come up here a couple of times, and it just blows my mind, the level of patience you must have. I want to ask you, how did you get into the artwork? How did you know that you had this skill?
Well, I've been drawing most of my life. A very, very young age, and it's just developed into, drawing and trying to improve my technique. But 2018, everything changed. So I wanted to draw the American flag as part of my portfolio. I literally go around San Diego taking pictures of the flag. I post it on my Facebook page. Vote for the best image. Well, my son Joey ends up picking the best image.
Oh, wow.
So then I go on to YouTube, my teacher, and I typed in literally 3D art techniques and came across a gentleman named Andrew Myers working with screws. I said, his technique, his medium, my image, what a great marriage that could be. So 2018, I created my first art piece, which is an American flag, and I put a frame around it, a white frame, to allow veterans to sign it. And it started out with one frame, about 100 veteran signatures. Yeah. It's going on its 6th frame, over 2,000 veteran signatures. And we're talking from World War I all the way to the global war on terrorism. Yeah. We're talking from an E1 to an O10. Oh. From ex-POWs from every era, including the USS Pueblo. I have 5 MOHs, Medal of Honor recipients. My first being John Baca, a Vietnam veteran. I have 2 MWDs, military working dogs. So it's just...
There was a paw print on it, wasn't there?
Correct. 2.
And is it this one behind?
It's behind
the
Guardian.
Okay. Because I remember when I came up last time and you told me this story, I remember actually the paw print.
Yes. Yeah. So that was probably Cross-Eyed Jimmy. So he
He
was an explosive detection canine and security ops in the sandbox for 8 years. He came back home, all 4 paws, but suffered from PTSD. So his new family literally said, enjoy retirement.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm creating this flag, and I knew I needed to have a canine, and it was really difficult initially to get someone. So I got my first canine. Her name is Esmeralda, Belgian Malinois, working with a fellow Marine.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, the parents of Cross-Eyed Jimmy said, hey, I heard you're doing this thing. They drove about an hour
Wow.
to get to the flag. So he puts his paw print on, and what I tell people is, imagine 8 years in the sandbox, sniffing out explosives, protecting our soldiers and Marines and all that. How many lives he saved?
Oh, I know.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
So, I mean, I could not honor him. You know, it's just one of those
yeah.
things. And all the canines.
Yeah.
And all the animals that we've used.
I know. It's things like that sometimes when I have conversations with people that I begin to realize, okay, there's more than just men and women involved here, you know, along with the animals and a multitude of other things that we probably will never be aware of, you know,
Correct.
kind of thing. That's crazy. So, okay, you got that first piece done, and you started taking it up through the country to get it signed.
Yes, so I was
Okay.
pretty much San Diego was my area, and up and down the coast, and then I got a couple of interesting signatures.
Okay.
One being William Rutledge, a
Okay.
SeaWolf
Okay.
gunner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know what a SeaWolf was, so he was like, "Oh yeah, I gotta, you gotta get my other buddies that were SeaWolves as well." So I drove another hour or so, got their signatures. So because I didn't know what it was, I had to do some research, and that's part of what my art is. It's just researching and getting information, and then getting the veterans to educate me even more.
Yeah.
So it turns out that SeaWolves were a helicopter squadron that was decommissioned in Vietnam to support the PBRs and the SEALs.
Okay. What are PBRs?
Patrol boats, the riverines, right? I think it's Brown River patrol boats.
Okay.
And it turns out that in that short period of time, they are the most decorated air squadron in all naval history.
Really?
Naval air history, yes. Over 16,000 air medals alone. To give you an idea.
You know something, I mean, okay, I haven't heard of them, but then I guess on some level, where would I have and how would I have? But for somebody, you know, in the military, that's kind of crazy.
It is. And so the individuals that would know them the most and have the highest regard are our Vietnam SEALs.
Yeah. Yeah.
You ask any Vietnam SEAL, oh yeah, no, they were our guardian angel.
Yeah.
So very important.
Yeah.
Whiskey Bravo is what I call them.
That's a nice little nugget to know. Because I remember the first time you told me that, I went home and asked my husband, actually. I was like, hey, dude. But yeah, it's, again, things like that aren't spoken about.
And there's a lot of those stories.
Yeah.
And part of my goal with the artwork is to bring out some of these stories that get told once and then forgotten. Yeah.
Because you support, you're a big supporter of the Resurrecting Lives Foundation.
Correct, yes.
Let's talk about that. That foundation deals with PTSD and TBI?
Correct.
TMS.
Almost. TMS, I don't know. That's a new term. So, TBI. So, Dr. Gordon, former ER physician, turned TBI specialist by her own design. She ended up receiving a TBI on her own and ended up rehabbing herself to where she could function.
Okay.
So Resurrecting Lives Foundation deals with TBI, with the resources and the treatment and the awareness associated with it. Very specific with our GWAT veterans. So if you imagine GWAT, Global War on Terrorism, unofficially, 7,100 we lost in country. 71, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
Not as much as maybe, the Vietnam with 58,000, World War II with over 400,000. But in our day and age, 7,100 is a lot. Approaching 35,000 in country here to suicide.
That's shocking.
So, Dr. Gordon and I formed a partnership a few years back. She was actually featuring her Brainstorms short documentary on TBI, what it looks like from the inside out from our service members.
Okay.
And it took Best Short Film for the GI Film Fest.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And the actor who played the soldier in combat, he ended up winning the Best Actor award.
Oh, wow.
Lawrence.
Now, the GI Film Festival took place in San Diego?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
that was 2 years ago where she received that accolade.
Wow, that is fantastic. So, your artwork supports that foundation.
Yes.
And what you do with your artwork, I mean, I can't help but, look at these poppies down here. These are bottle tops, aren't they?
Yes, bottle caps.
Bottle caps. I mean, it's amazing. So you support the foundation by taking your artwork to, do you get it commissioned? How does it help the foundation? Does it help people understand that time frame, what's happening in that particular piece of art?
So the Brainstorms film was featured on the Midway premiere.
Okay.
A couple years back. And the guest speaker had called out about 24 hours prior to the event. And she is all frantic, the doctor. And so a former sailor of mine said, hey, you should meet this guy. So he starts showing pictures of my artwork. He goes, wait a minute, I need to talk to this chief. So we got together, and I actually brought a couple of my art pieces to complement the film.
Okay.
And I ended up turning out to be the guest speaker.
Wow.
So I replaced the director-producer of Brainstorms, which was Julie Pacino.
Okay. Okay, wow.
You might know her husband.
I think the last name sounds familiar.
Al.
Yes, there you go.
Right. So the
go.
veterans after
Wow.
the film were saying this artwork is really impactful.
Yeah.
And we just figured out that there's ways to take the art, take her, measures of awareness and prevention, and we have a very common mission, and the mission is to reduce the suicide rate of our veterans.
Yeah.
And I use art therapy, obviously, but she has a whole different set of skill set for her to get it.
Has this been therapy for you, Joe?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
More than anyone could ever imagine.
I want to talk about a couple of your favorite pieces. I mean, I know that's like saying, who's your favorite kid?
Yeah.
But I mean, I've looked around at all of your stuff, and each one I know has a meaning, and there's an emotion behind it.
Absolutely.
So, which two would you say maybe, had some effect on you stronger than the others?
Ah, man, that's really tough. And you're literally sitting in front of probably the one that wants the most recognition. Mona over there. I mean, she is definitely one of my favorites, only because when I was starting to really think maybe I should do her portrait, and realizing the history behind it, it's just fascinating that this little art piece in the Louvre, has so much attention. And it's unfortunate that most people, when they go there, they have to be like, several yards away.
Yeah.
And it's protected under glass. And I said, well, why don't I make one so that people could come to it, touch it, because that's part of the design. But as far as the favorite, I have 2 self-portraits in here.
You do?
I'm been a little better about talking about it.
Okay.
But one is called Invisibilia.
Okay.
It's a piece where a veteran is on the bench, covered with the American flag.
Okay. Yes, I've seen that piece.
It's a homeless veteran piece. Trying to bring awareness and help our veterans into a better space. Again, that's part of what Dr. Gordon does as well, but knowing that untreated, undiagnosed TBI leads into a spiral, eventually to homelessness, and then to the second part, suicide. So that is one of my portraits, and then the other one is the Operation Zero.
Okay.
It's a image that I was able to find at a bike club. They had a banner with Operation Zero. So it's a stop sign with a comrade kneeling, praying.
Okay.
And the caption is "Never quit."
Wow, that just
So
sent chills.
when we're talking about art therapy and what it does for our veterans, I guess the first thing is it's helping me.
Yeah.
And so my position on that is just imagine there's an individual in a deep hole.
Mm-hmm.
3 people walk by. So the first one looks down and is like, okay, scribes something and hands it down, and he looks at it like, okay, I don't either understand the instructions or it's too difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Second person looks down and ties a rope to a tree and then throws it down, and I'm too weak. I can't climb up this rope. The third person looks down, jumps in, and then the individual goes, "What are you doing? Why did you jump down here?" He goes, "I've been where you're at, and I know how to get out." So I use this to help other veterans, hopefully to get out of their space. Yeah, it's emotional because I've seen the impact.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of interest. People love my artwork, which I'm thrilled. But
Yeah.
The support is something that's always a challenge.
Yeah.
I dig deep in my pockets so that I can create this for people. But
Yeah. You know, I'm glad you brought that up, Joe, because again, it's obvious how passionate you are about your work, and when you do things that you're passionate about, you tend to sometimes overlook, because you're passionate about it, the financial kind of business side, and you
Yes.
think, well,
Oh,
I like
yeah.
doing it, man, you know.
Right.
But yes, this kind of artwork, this needs to be supported. You know, like, you know, before, because I want you to give out information where people and how people can support you.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got to talk about this piece of artwork that we've been sitting in front the whole time, you know.
Yes.
Now, like I said to you in the beginning, I know this was at Mount Soledad.
Yes.
Because
Veterans
Phil,
Day.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went and looked it up, it's a fantastic piece. And it looks to me like the blue parts here are wings.
Yes. So it's
Okay.
called The Guardian.
Okay.
Wings of Sacrifice.
Okay.
Okay. So yes, when you're standing back further, you can see the outline of the wings.
Okay.
So this was a very interesting piece in the fact that USAA initially asked me to do a piece for their Army-Navy game
Oh, nice.
in December in
Okay.
DC.
Okay.
Roger that.
Okay.
I think I have something in mind. Their theme, or what they wanted to kind of present, was the struggles of our veterans,
Okay.
either active duty to civilian side or combat coming back.
Okay.
I think I have something in mind,
All right.
which is this. So unfortunately, it got canceled,
Okay.
and I was ready to scrap it. Literally, it's literally like I had brought the battlefield cross. So there's 3 panels. The battlefield cross I brought to the honorable tournament. It's a high school football tournament, and so I had several football players install. I had Marines install, Gold Star
Okay.
parents and sister installed screws.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I was ready to scrap it, and I got a call from a unicorn. I was in Ohio on my nationwide suicide prevention campaign called VISTA, Veterans Standing Together Across America.
Okay.
I'm in my hotel and I get a call from a unicorn. So what is a unicorn? Imagine, U.S. Coast Guard, combat veteran from Vietnam. I'd never heard of that. I didn't even know they served you know, in that arena.
Yeah.
So he calls me up and goes, "Hey, Joe, the doctor just diagnosed me with terminal cancer and put me in home hospice. Can you come see me before it's too late?" Okay, absolutely. So I fly back home, and I'm in the studio, and I have this piece just screaming at me. "Bring it with you." So I brought the panel with me,
Wow. Okay.
and I said, "Mark, would you install a screw?" So he does, and he's crying and everything. His family also installed screws.
Wow.
And he was laying on his bed, and I'm sitting next to him, and I said, okay, Mark, it's just you and I here. You make me a promise. He goes, okay, sure. I said, I will promise that I will finish this art piece. But I need you to promise that you'll still be here to receive the dedication. So the orange screw
Yes.
is his, and it's painted orange because his cancer is a result of exposure to Agent Orange in Vietnam. Now, what I didn't realize that there was over 8,600 coasties that served in Vietnam as the tip of the spear operations supporting the SEALs and spec ops, preventing contraband and arms. And so they were in country and did a significant impact. Well, a couple weeks ago, I brought this piece to his place and made the official unveil.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the reason why it's still here, but there's many layers to it. So there's over 6,000 drywall screws to make up the battlefield cross.
Okay. What about dog tags?
Okay, so the gold ones are for Gold Star families,
Okay.
which already have Gold Star families up there. Over 2,500 dog tags. The wings comprise about 1,200, and on each side is 11 simulated bullet holes. 11/11 Armistice Day. You put them together, that's 22. 22 is the daily suicide rate of our veterans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are left alone, and then around it is about 1,500 dog tags. And I invite veterans or families that have veterans, pick out a dog tag, and I emboss their rank and name, the branch of service, time they served.
Joe.
And so right now I have 100 dog tags embossed.
Okay.
100 in the queue because I broke my embosser. I just recently got it.
Okay.
Got another one. Everyone from a private to a 4-star is on this.
Nice.
Two
Nice.
MOHs. John
Okay.
Baca's on the left. Joe P. Martinez is on the right.
Okay.
Those are the two MOHs. I have an MWD,
Okay.
Cross-Eyed Jimmy.
Okay.
He's next to the right boot.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a PWD on the left boot. PWD is a police working dog.
Okay.
So have you heard of Sirius?
No.
After today, please don't forget his name.
Okay.
So, Sirius was in the basement.
Okay.
2 planes hit the towers. Officer Lynn puts him in his kennel, goes up to investigate. Officer Lynn actually gets out. The towers collapse. Unfortunately, Sirius was the only canine that we lost.
Oh my
9/11.
gosh.
So I had to honor him.
Uh-huh.
So he's there. And so, in part of the Never Forget, some people didn't even know that that was the case.
I did not know. That's the first time I've heard that story.
Yeah.
I mean, I think really there's, and I'm learning this as I'm doing this podcast, there's so much I just don't know.
Well, Sergeant Reckless is up there too.
Yeah.
Who's Sergeant Reckless?
I don't know.
It's the most famous war horse.
Oh, really?
Korean War.
Uh-huh.
Ended up dying in 1968, and he's at the Camp Pendleton.
Really?
Yeah.
Where is he? Show me.
It's up in the top left.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The first quadrant.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, Joe, this is nothing short of absolutely incredible and amazing. 988. The placard down here.
Yes.
988. Suicide Lifeline.
Right. So you notice there's a red chip right there as
Yeah.
well. So the story with this. And right there.
Okay.
988.
Yes, I noticed
Okay.
that.
So Patrick Romeo,
Uh-huh.
Air Force veteran,
Okay.
did the Hoka earlier this year. Have you heard of that?
No.
It's a motorcycle ride.
Okay.
Okay. 10,000 miles across the
Oh,
country.
wow. Okay.
Started in Florida, ended up in Alaska.
Okay.
Crazy part is there's no navigation. At the starting point, he gets a list of directions. He writes it on his windshield, and he has to follow that to the next checkpoint. He gets the next set of directions.
Wow.
No GPS.
Wow.
His lodging consists of either his bike or the ground. He can't go in a hotel, motel. He can't. So he has to stay with his bike. So he was in dugouts. He was in gas stations.
Good Lord.
He was on the side of the street, wherever he could, after anywhere from an 18 to 20-hour ride per day.
Wow.
10,000 miles. So a couple years back, he gets assigned his rider number, 988. So he's doing his ride, and then a year or so later, the suicide hotline turned into a 3-digit number, 988. And so this year he said, I have to ride.
Wow.
So his ride is, so the Hoka, you do this ride, but you have to have a nonprofit that you raise money for and awareness. So Resurrecting Lives is who he chose.
Oh,
and
that's
so
amazing.
In conjunction, he's riding for suicide awareness and suicide prevention. And so his whole journey is, again, to raise money. I think we're at like 74% of what the target is, which is 50,000.
Wow.
And there's ways to get to that. I mean, again, layers and layers.
Yeah.
And he is the most humble individual, works with FEMA now.
Okay.
So he's a retired firefighter as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So just
yeah.
serving.
Yes.
That's all we do.
Yeah.
Is we serve.
I said to somebody the other day, I said, people that have served continue to serve. You know, it's just inherent. It's just the way it is, you know. That's amazing. Now, how can people get in touch with you? And how can people make a donation for your artwork, for all this wonderful stuff, Joe?
So I am an LLC. So I'm an actual business.
Okay.
Which, fortunately, I have a day job. And thank my day job for letting me cut away to do things that I do.
Yeah.
So I am the profit side. Dr. Gordon's foundation, Resurrecting Lives Foundation, is the nonprofit.
Okay,
and
Resurrecting
so usually,
Lives Foundation.
They'll actually go through her website, make the donation, and then she'll disseminate it accordingly. And it's all, again, part of the whole mission. So, you know, whatever it takes to keep things going.
Okay, so it's the Resurrecting Lives Foundation.
Correct.
Okay, and that's where you can go to support Joe and his artwork, and not just that, but obviously, you know, TBI, PTSD, you know.
So I had mentioned something earlier, Vista. So Dr. Gordon last year comes up to me and goes, Chief, you know, the last election, I received the most suicide threat calls in my entire career.
Wow. When did she say this? Are you talking about the last just gone? Last month?
No.
Oh.
Trump Biden.
Oh, okay.
The most suicide threat calls, 29 states. And I kind of, well, why? She goes, because all the chaos, all the indecisive, everything around that, you know, time where, you know, our veterans are like, well, what's going on? What are we fighting for? If this is what we're fighting for, right? And so she goes, I don't want that to happen again. I said, well, I have an idea. Let me make a flag, put a frame around it for every state.
Oh.
The goal is at least one flag for every state, and the mission is to reduce the suicide rate of our veterans. So we have 4 states.
Okay.
So the original being here, over 2,000 veteran signatures. We have one in Ohio that now has a permanent home. We have one in Hawaii. We have one in Alaska that I just came back from.
Nice.
Hawaii and Alaska, highest suicide rates of our veterans. So in the queue now we have Texas, Florida, Pennsylvania, Arizona.
Oh, I
for
love
next
that,
year.
Joe.
So again, when you're talking about raising funds, this is a part of the benefit. You know, people will go like, they look at my ribbon rack and they, everything's really, you know, impressive.
Yeah.
But the one award that is never on here is the lives that are saved by doing what I do. So it's kind of that thing, well, okay, you know, I'd rather save lives and not be, you know, wearing it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I totally get that.
Yes.
So again, Resurrecting Lives Foundation, and then, like you said, in Texas, Florida,
Florida, Arizona, Pennsylvania.
After this, you've always had several projects lined up to do,
Yes.
simultaneously. What 20 projects have you got lined up? Are you doing right now?
Right now, I have the Glenner Town Square. It's a dementia and Alzheimer's facility in Chula Vista.
Oh.
They have transformed a warehouse. When you walk in, you're going back through time, kind of in a 50s motif. They have a retail store, looks like a little shop.
Really?
Or a salon that looks like 50s, a diner that looks like
Can
Corvette
the
diner.
public go? Like, can I go in and have a look?
Yes, you can get a tour scheduled and you can go check it out. Yes.
Oh, that
and
sounds
so
so
they
cool.
have a veterans museum.
Okay. Where is this, in Chula Vista?
In Chula Vista on Main Street. And so Scott, he found out what I do, and so I'm making a flag for the veterans. They've already installed screws, and it's here, and I'm going to continue making it. And so we'll have the frame, and so any of their veterans will be able to sign it.
Okay.
And we already had the unveil, and it was a very emotional. I mean, we had the veterans in. This was on Veterans Day, and literally appreciative, to tears. And I'm in uniform, so I'm giving hugs and stuff. It's just very embracing. I mean, it's interesting how the military, long after, can just bring back memories, and they can just like that.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Joe, people always say to me, man, why are you so, into the military kind of thing? You weren't even born here kind of thing. And I always say to the man, I walked onto a base, I opened up a business, nobody cared about my crazy accent, that I cussed at them all day long. They just, no judgment. Right. They just open arms, accept.
Yep, absolutely. Most diverse.
It's most diverse and just most welcoming. And to this day, even though my guy's now retired, my family is still the family that I married into.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do need to share one other story about this.
Absolutely.
Very important.
Yes.
So if you look on this, so the idea is that I was going to replicate Flanders Field poppies. This is about 5,000 bottle caps.
Good Lord.
My goal is to make 250,000 bottle cap Flanders Field. Oh, 250,000. So I have a family that comes and visit me on the weekend, and there's a little boy that kind of was intrigued with my artwork. Found out that I was going to use bottle caps, and him and his sister come into my studio, hand me 3 bottle caps.
Oh.
And I'm excited, right? And so I go to the boy, I said, okay, when I'm ready, you can plant your poppy. And he said, yes. So then I was like, what's your favorite color? He goes, black. I said, okay, I'll paint yours black. And then when you're ready, you can install it. And he said yes again. So imagine his father's in the background crying, saying thank you. Turns out his son is on the spectrum, nonverbal. So he came back the next week, and I had the poppy, the bottle cap painted already. So I showed him, hey, I man of my word. So then he comes in, and I had a blank field. All the poppies were ready to be installed. Blank field. He comes in. You can be the first. So the black poppy.
Yes.
Out of the sea of 250,000 will remind that each of us are unique in our own way. Yeah. We all have special needs, regardless.
Yeah.
So that's just the reminder. And it was just a really nice, endearing moment.
That is really nice, Joe.
Yeah. So a lot of different layers again.
Joe, and I noticed that some of these poppies in here are a little pink.
Yeah, so the pink ones are for Adam and Hannah. So they came in as well.
Okay.
And when I asked Adam, what's your favorite color? He goes, pink. I said, oh, okay, paint them. And so Hannah did the same, and they actually installed screws or bottle caps. And I asked them, oh, where do you want yours? I mean, it was already full. Yeah. I want it next to the black one.
Oh, I like that.
So black one has a friend.
Nice.
And then Hannah did the same thing. So they're.
I like that.
Have a special story. And all innocent.
Oh.
All in, I mean, it was just a very innocent, experience.
Organic, yeah. Let me ask you, people want to come in, see what you've got going on. I know that at the command center,
Yes.
You've got the wall there, the corrugated wall.
Yes.
But if people wanted to come in, see what you've got going on, Joe, how do people get in touch with Joe Pisano?
I have a website.
Okay.
PisanoArtistry.com.
PisanoArtistry.com.
Yes, and there's a place where you can put your contact information and reach out to me. Say, hey, Joe, I want to come to see your studio.
Okay.
And I will make accommodations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joe, I want to be able to come back and follow up on some more artwork.
Absolutely.
And definitely follow you around some events that, you know, where you're going. So, but today, thank you so much.
Thank you. Finally.
I know. We have been talking about this for such a long time. I'm so glad we did this. And every time I come here as well, even though I've been here a couple of times, it still blows my mind. Yeah. You know, it still blows my mind how amazing, how talented,
well, thank you.
and gifted you are. And such a good cause. Like Kimmy always says, doing good things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, this is special. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's been great talking to Joe Pisano down at Liberty Station. You got to come down, check out his art. My name's Surinder. You have been listening to The Goode Show.
Thanks for tuning in to The Goode Show. I hope you have been inspired by today's conversation. If you loved what you heard, help us spread the word. Follow me on Instagram at The Goode Show. As military spouses, we all have stories to share, experiences, resources, and support. I want to hear your story and highlight your business. Let's connect, DM me, or visit surindergoode.com to share your journey. Until next time, take care, stay inspired, and keep doing good things.